Rick Prime is one of the most terrifying villains in Rick and Morty. A Rick walked away from everything good in his life so he could focus on achieving domination over the other Ricks. But what makes Rick Prime so special? Is it the fact that he messed up the lives of all his alternate selves so much that our C-137 Rick made it his life's mission to hunt him down and kill him for good? In this video, we are going to break down Rick Prime's entire backstory, his motivations, and how he shaped Rick 137's story.
You lived in my house!
In Season 2, Episode 10, The Wedding Squanchers, Rick's presence at his friend Bird Person's wedding exposed his location to the Galactic Federation.
You guys are a group of wanted criminals, and this entire building is, in a certain sense, surrounded.
And they're closing in on him. Rick, Morty, Summer, Beth, and Jerry are all on the run with him and eventually settle on a tiny abandoned planet.
Why are we doing this for someone that would never do anything for anyone but himself?
After overhearing Jerry talk about how much danger they were all in and suggesting they turn Rick in to go back to their regular lives, Rick felt so guilty that he went ahead and just turned himself in.
I'm doing what's right for the galaxy by calling you, so if we come back to Earth, can my family have a normal life?
We only want Sanchez, sir.
After being captured, the aliens go into his head, trying to find out just how he made the portal gun, and he showed them a memory of how he invented it.
Well, 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 if it isn't us, you're about to invent something much more powerful. What?
This was the first time we see Rick Prime. He approached C-137 with the portal tech and offered him the chance to travel the multiverse.
Who do you think you are? A different kind of Rick, I guess. Well, we'll see how long that lasts.
We also find out that this Rick doesn't handle rejection very well at all. He dropped a portal bomb on Beth and Diane, killing them both. But then he reveals it was all a fake memory, and he was using it to distract them while he hacks the simulation he was trapped in and escapes.
This is a memory. You can't alter details of a memory.
True, but you can alter anything you want about a totally fabricated origin story.
And it looks like we're back to square one where we know nothing about the mad scientist's past. But that soon changed in another episode. Okay, so his fake memory wasn't actually fake. In this episode, evil Morty forces Rick to relive this painful memory as part of his plans to overthrow the central finite curve and find out whether C-137 was one of the original founders of the Citadel system and curve.
Here's my fucking downloaded brain, Morty. You wanna jump the shark? You wanna know my stupid crybaby backstory? Knock yourself out. Not now!
Again, we saw the same scene. Rick Prime arrived in C-137's garage and offered him the portal technology. Just like before, he then unleashes a portal bomb that kills Beth and Diane. Now, we know for sure that the portal technology came from Rick Prime, and that memory wasn't made up. It was actually Rick's biggest trauma. Really makes you wonder, who exactly is Rick Prime? At the beginning, his life was pretty much like any other Rick. He had his wife and Diane and their daughter Beth. But he left them because he couldn't stand emotional attachments and would look down on the other Ricks for having them.
Why are you leaving?
Work stuff.
Perfect explains why he was a deadbeat dad and eventually grew to hate Diane. After he left them, he invented the portal gun technology and approached Rick C-137, offering to share it with him.
Once we give you this technology, you become the smartest thing in every conceivable universe. The infinite Rick. A god. Pass. Excuse me? Bro, Ricks don't pass on this.
For him, leaving his own Diane wasn't enough. He had to wipe her from every universe using his Omega device.
Diane was wiped from all existence by the weapon too cool for a name.
The Omega device.
Known to inferiors as the Omega device.
A weapon he created that would kill someone in every conceivable universe. We finally found out in the 5th episode of Season 7, Unmoored Rickon, that this was why Diane was absent from most of the show. Prime believed that Ricks were better off without a family, and wiping out Diane's entire existence was a step in the right direction. After he dealt with the loss of his family, C-137 quickly caught up and developed his own portal gun, and vowed to avenge them using it. He traveled back and forth a lot, killing many of his other selves. Decades passed, but he still couldn't find his nemesis. Eventually, he reached a truce with the other Ricks and began living in the Prime Dimension. Beth grew up without a Rick in this dimension, and as a result, has severe abandonment issues and sometimes overcompensates emotionally. When Rick C-137 came into her life, she accepted him right away and even called him Dad. Rick just goes with it, choosing not to tell her that he's not the same one who walked out on her. Maybe this was just his way of righting his wrongs with his own Beth. He got a chance to start over, and she didn't need to know he wasn't her original Rick. He was here now, and at least he was trying.
These kids may not be mine, but you definitely are. Look at you, my little steampunk overlord.
Notice how so far, Rick Prime has only appeared in flashbacks. Could it be that this guy only exists in Rick C-137's head? Well, not really, because episode 1 of season 6 finally showed us the real deal. Rick C-137 resets his gun's portal fluid, and everyone is sent back to their original universe.
Morty, did you see another Rick here? Nondescript haircut, sci-fi jacket. Of course you didn't see him, you'd be dead.
He realizes this is his one shot, because for the first time since the tragedy, he knows where Rick Prime will be.
Well, you're Rick, yeah, not dead. More like, not around. When I met you, I was sorta hoping he might turn up one day. You son of a bitch, I got you!
He tracks him down and tells Morty that Rick is his real grandfather. When they get to his lair, they find that he'd been one step ahead of them the whole time and had left them a recorded message and a clone of himself in a glass tube.
I'm not here. Or am I? There's the clone you found, or maybe it's me all naked. Just a little Kaiser Sose.
And some killbots, of course. Rick decides to stay and fight, but Morty convinces him to leave.
I don't know him. You're my grandpa, Rick. Rick and Morty, 100 years.
This place totally might go up, by the way. Here's a bunch of countdowns. One of them's probably accurate.
The episode's post-credits scene reveals that it was Rick Prime in the tube all along. It wasn't a clone. The scene also paves the way for his arrival back into C-137's life. Before this episode, we only knew of him through words or in flashbacks or holograms. Now we see that he's still around.
Why are you here?
Buddy, I have been asking myself that exact same question.
And a real problem. Until now, we never really knew what had become of him. It was never shown or mentioned that he'd been destroyed by Rick C-137. Last we heard of him, he'd left after killing Diane and was being hunted across the dimensions by C-137. We know it's him in this scene specifically because we saw him before in C-137's flashbacks. Prime was easily distinguishable from the other Ricks. His skin was a bit more muted and his outfit wasn't the white lab coat we've come to see as Rick's uniform. Instead, his usual style consisted of a purple jacket and dark grey pants. Makes perfect sense. Ricks are generally pretty narcissistic, and if he is the Rickest Rick, and he thinks he's better than his other selves and wants to rule over them, of course he would dress differently. He would hate to be mistaken for just another Rick. Now he's become a real thorn in C-137's side, and is no longer just a ghost of his past. The pivotal scene takes place in the Cronenberg dimension, the one that got destroyed in the 6th episode of the first season, titled Rick Potion Number 9.
Boy, Morty, I really Cronenberged the world up, didn't I? We got a whole planet of Cronenbergs walking around down there, Morty.
It was beyond saving after Morty's love potion for Jessica sparked a highly contagious pandemic. After trying and failing to save the universe, Rick and Morty abandoned it and moved to another one. But Summer, Beth, and Jerry were left to deal with the consequences and somehow find a way to live there. This might explain why that universe's Jerry tries to kill Rick Prime when he sees him.
Did you talk to me or a little kid around here?
Maybe. Why? Because if you hate them too, I could be down for a little team up.
I really don't team up anymore. Managing people, such a headache.
Even in this short scene, a few things are made clear. Rick C-137 isn't the only one chasing. Prime also wants to find him and his Morty. When Jerry fails to kill Prime, he's not even mad about it. In usual Rick fashion, instead he finds himself impressed.
Goddamn, dude, badass.
Is it just me, or does Rick Prime start softening up when he sees someone else being evil? Even though Jerry is clearly no match for Rick, he still kills him, showing us that he enjoys being merciless. Here's two more things we learn from this scene. One, This Rick works on his own. He has no allies. Secondly, his body healed instantly when Jerry cut him, meaning he has either just as, if not more, advanced technology than Rick C-137, and could be even more powerful than C-137. After this, there's a lot of silence and all kinds of adventures unrelated to Rick Prime. Did Rick really just let this guy go? Well, not really. As a Christmas present, Rick buys Morty a lightsaber, just like the ones in Star Wars.
You didn't? No fucking way!
No fucking way!
They go to the garage to test it out on some random vegetables, and Morty drops it.
Heads up!
It goes through the floor and every surface under that, so they have to travel underground to get it.
Rick! You dumb fucking robot. You had one job. Hey, that job was to be a good grandpa. I go where the kid goes.
Don't touch me!
Morty finds out that the version of Rick who'd been so nice to him the past few months was a robot.
Are you a robot?
Morty!
A clone?
Morty, this family's got enough clones and robots in it.
And the real Rick had isolated himself underground and was making plans to find the man who killed his wife.
Welcome to my darkness. I spent my life hunting this guy, Morty. This is the closest I've ever been to catching Rick Prime.
Right at the start of Season 7's first episode, we're reminded that throughout his and Morty's random adventures, Rick has not forgotten his underlying goal. The last time we saw Rick Prime was a whole season ago, and there hadn't even been any more flashbacks about him.
Any progress?
Yes, Morty. I found the version of me that killed my wife. You just missed it.
Okay, I get it.
I had a big sword fight with him on top of Hoover Dam. He fell and landed on a sharp spike, and then whispered, "Thank you," like a werewolf.
I was asking to be polite.
So now we know that Rick is still consumed by thoughts of vengeance, and Rick Prime's end is not too far. In this episode, we found out a lot about our villain towards the end. We learned that maybe, deep down, even Rick Prime does have some love in his heart for his family. Morty, evil Morty, and Rick C-137 find him in his lair.
I can see why you hate him.
And she sounds like our wife. Like in a fucked up robot way, but that's definitely her voice. You sentimental little fella.
Rick Prime makes fun of C-137 for his emotional attachment to Diane. But in the same scene, we find out that he might be suppressing his feelings and has more of them than he lets on.
Uncle Slow!
What the? Uncle Slow? Slow Mobius?
Yeah, this one hurts me too.
So, he's not totally heartless. You can see the sadness in his eyes as Uncle Slow Morbius meets his end in the Omega device. Slow Morbius resembled Rick a bit and had wrinkled, alienish appearance. Killing him seemed like a random act of brutality. It was one of the most harmless characters on that whole damn show. The idea that Rick Prime might not be a cold, unfeeling psychopath feels even more plausible when he refers to Diane with the unusually nice words when confronting Rick C-137.
I can see why you hate him.
And she sounds like our wife.
Calling her our wife. Out of all the Ricks, he was the only one who hated Diane. But this Freudian slip then raises another question. Did he really despise his wife? Try and deny it as he might, it's clear he still holds some attachment to her and doesn't just view her with only hatred.
If you're seeing this, you're me. Except, less. But you acted like you were better, so I killed your beloved Diane.
Wiping her from every universe seems a bit much. Was he overcompensating for something? At the end of this episode, Rick C-137 kills his arch rival, finally achieving the goal he spent decades trying to fulfill. He's finally at the end of his journey.
You would have been me. But eventually, you did. You lived in my house.
Okay, those were some pretty badass last words. The episode showed us how Prime was a more complicated character with more layers than we expected. He saw emotional attachment as weakness, couldn't deal with the idea of vulnerability and love. So much so that he chose to spend his final moments mocking Rick C-137 and going on one of his self-righteous and narcissistic rants, rather than go the usual route of confessing regrets or pain while taking his dying breaths. Really tells you a lot about the guy. If there is a softer, less evil guy behind the facade, he never lets him out. Not even in the face of death. But when C-137 is hitting him, he talks back to him, obviously pissed that C-137 took over in his dimension, showing a sense of ownership when it comes to his family. Also, when he thought he met his Morty, who was actually evil Morty, he talks to him nicely before killing him, then even finds himself impressed by evil Morty's treacherousness.
Smart. So you're like an evil Morty, a clever one. Ow! All right, never been a sidekick guy, but I'm starting to see the value. You want a job? We could be like Batman and Robin.
So much that he tries to team up with him, probably seeing some of his own traits reflected in him. There were many conflicting ideas in his head. His desire for power and his love for his family didn't turn out to be a great mix. It leaves us with a lot of questions. Why did he consider it his job to take over the other Ricks? And if he did have underlying feelings for Diane, why couldn't he just have lived a normal life with her and not killed her? Being the first Rick to discover interdimensional travel, he did actually feel it was his duty to establish his rule over the rest of them, and this task would take all his effort. No distractions would do. In his brilliantly screwed up brain, killing off the people he loved most was a way to eliminate weakness, make himself unstoppable and superior to the other Ricks. Looks like he was wrong about all of it, being defeated in the end by one of those very Ricks he had looked down upon as being weak just because he loved his wife.